Hello, and welcome to Stories from the View, a podcast from the Pleasant View Senior Center in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. On this podcast, we invite East Longmeadow residents to tell us stories about their lives and events. And today's guest is Donna Martinez. She is president of the Friends of the Norcross House. She's also on the board of directors of the Lions Club, and she works closely with St. Michael's Players. So here is your host for this week, Mary Jenowin Kaplan.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning, Donna.
Hi, Mary.
I am so excited to have you here today. We are going to hear so much about the wonderful organizations you're involved in and leading, but also a little bit about you and your time here in East Longmeadow. So tell us, what brought you to 01028?
Well, both my husband and I grew up in 16 acres, and we lived there for the first couple of years we were married. And when we were looking for a new place to live, we wanted to stay close to our family. And we found the house in East Longmeadow and fell in love with it, and we landed here.
You reached your goal because it is just right in the same area.
Yeah.
And close to everything, but still a wonderful, great community.
Yes, definitely.
And so as you moved into town, I'm guessing you became involved in some of these organizations gradually over the years?
Yeah, it started out when my daughter was young, and the PTO, and I got involved in Friends of Heritage Park. And, as happens with a lot of people, you get into one thing and then you're there. and so PTO all through until she graduated high school. And then my husband was involved in the Lions, and I kind of got involved in that and met other people. And one thing led to another, and got involved in a bunch of things.
And that's one of the great things I think about East Longmeadow, is that folks are involved in our community, and you meet the best people
You do.
in these organizations. And you're really contributing to our quality of life here. And that's what makes East Longmeadow a great town.
Yeah, it does. But one of my pet peeves, I think, is it just seems like, for instance, when I joined the Lions Club like 15 years ago, we would have meetings twice a month at the Elmcrest Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd have like 50 people there. Now we meet once a month, and at a small room at Mario's, and sometimes we get 12, 15 people. And it seems like people are not joining organizations as much as they used to. And I know a lot of it is younger families have a lot more going on these days. Both parents work and kids are involved in all sorts of things. But I just feel like if people don't get involved more in community activities, we're not going to have them. I mean, a classic example is the JCs went out and they were doing the fishing derby, and that was gone for the longest time. And the Lions were approached to do it. And we always want to do these things. But it's like, oh my God, how are we going to do it with so few people? Luckily, we've been gaining members, and a lot of people in the community said, oh, if you bring it back, we will help. So it's been successful the last couple of years. But, I'm just afraid that we have a lot of things in town that people love, the carnival, the parade, the tree lighting, all these things that we do in town, and they're all done by volunteers. And if we don't get people to replace people who are aging out of these organizations, we're going to lose some of this, which is sad.
It is sad, and I certainly understand aging.
Yeah.
But kudos to the Lions for at least making some inroads in getting some other folks involved in projects. And I think that could be the key,
Yeah.
is folks don't join organizations just because it's a good organization.
No, they don't.
join an organization because there's something in it that speaks to them.
Right.
And the fishing derby speaks to some people. That's some folks' passion. And I will say, I'm not a fisher person, and our grandkids are kind of beyond that stage, and they're young adults.
Yeah.
But driving by Heritage and seeing those adorable little kids and the adults and the fishing poles on a beautiful day, just warms your heart. It just makes you smile or laugh.
Yeah, oh yeah, especially when the little ones come with their 3-inch fish that they caught, but they're so proud, and it's a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about some of your favorite projects. What speaks to you?
Well, right now I'm very much involved in Norcross House.
As El Presidente.
Yes. And we like to say Norcross is like the best kept secret in town because people don't even know where we are, and most people in town go by there at least twice a day. We're at 89 Maple Street, and it's a historic house, and the Norcrosses were actually very important in East Longmeadow becoming a town. There were two Norcross brothers, and they were preeminent builders in the mid to late 1800s. They were out of Worcester, and they discovered the redstone and the brownstone in town, and they bought up 6 quarries in town.
Ooh.
And all this stone that was coming from what was Longmeadow then, but the East Village of Longmeadow, was used all over the country. I mean, there were like the Trinity Church in Boston, Marshall Fields in Chicago, South Station, and locally the old Hampden County Courthouse, and of course our town hall was all built by Norcross with East Village, Longmeadow, redstone, and brownstone. And because they had all these quarries, there was an influx of workers that had to come to, I guess it's mining the quarries. And then with that came their families, and the East Village grew. And then there became like a division between the, I guess, laborer section of the East Village and the other section. And that's when there became discussions about East Longmeadow becoming a town. So I guess if that hadn't happened over in this section, the East Village, maybe we would still be part of Longmeadow.
Absolutely. And how interesting, because we've heard little bits in our podcasts about the history, but I love that you've tied it into the Norcross brothers.
Yeah.
So, and did they live in this house?
So James Norcross sent his son James Franklin, here when he was 17, and to learn the business. And he married Etta Robinson, and they bought the land on Maple Street. And they lived there until he retired at the ripe old age of, I think he was 41 when he retired.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. And they built a house on Sumner Avenue in Springfield, right by Forest Park, and moved there and summered in East Longmeadow, which I thought
country
was,
home.
Yeah, their country
Summer
home.
country home. I like that.
Yeah. So, and they lived there, and Mr. Norcross actually passed away in the house, and Mrs. Norcross stayed there until, 1949. And then it was sold to a couple, John and Alberta Settle. And Mrs. Settle ran a tea room for a while.
How charming.
I know. And you can just see, you've been in the house, so you can just see how that would have been a tea room on the first floor. And then for a while, they ran a women's boarding house for career women. It was during the war, and they had to, if women were going back into the workplace and they needed a safe place to stay. So they did that. And then in 1953, they sold it to Elizabeth Baldwin, who actually ran the first Busy Bee daycare center out of Norcross. Yeah. So that was interesting because Busy Bee is still around today.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1961, the house was bought by Dr. Leon Pfeffer and his wife Diana. He was a podiatrist, and people still remember him. They remember his wife more because she, I guess, was the fashionista of the day. And people still tell us stories about the elaborate parties they had in the carriage house and how she would always walk around town like impeccably dressed with her hats. I guess she was worked in the hat department at Forbes and Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she passed away, there was another Dr. Karen Marizian, I guess, leased the office for a while, and she was a podiatrist. And there was an artist that used the carriage house for a while. But then in 1999, Springfield Day Nursery bought the property, and they were going to tear it down. And some people in town talked to them and convinced them that maybe they could incorporate their design for the new school into the house. And they agreed to do that. But I don't know what happened there, but it just didn't work out. And then a developer was going to buy it because it had sat there for so long and it was in such disrepair. And if you ever visit the house, we put together a whole book of how bad it looked and the whole process by which it was renovated. So in 2003, because the developer was going to come in and tear it down, there were a bunch of people spearheaded by Merle Safford, and I'm sure
Legendary.
Merle Safford,
Legendary.
yes. And she was a powerhouse, and she got people together and she raised funds and they bought the property and they renovated it, and she put together Friends of Norcross. And we are a nonprofit, and we take care of the house.
Hearing the history and hearing the transformations from all of the different inhabitants of the house, and having seen the house, you folks are miracle workers, because it is lovely and it clearly is preserved beyond the challenges of, and I'll say this respectfully, many small children with daycare centers and doctors' offices and others.
Yeah.
And how wonderful that is restored the right word for
Yeah, it is. And they try to keep it as true to its original form, because over the years, things had happened. There had been a sleeping porch that had been added to the top floor, but that wasn't in the original design. So when they went back to renovate it and restore it, that they took all that down. And at that time, John Norcross, who was probably the last Norcross to actually live in that house, he has since passed. But he was able, I guess, to tell them some of the things too,
That he
how things were.
remembered.
Yes.
Oh.
He lived there when he was a young child, but he remembered some of the things. And he stayed active. He passed 2 years ago, but he lived in Virginia, but he would still call every once in a while. And his family came a couple times, his descendants, and had a reunion at the house. And it was very nice. We have pictures of them all there. They put together a book of their reunions.
It must be so comforting for him to know there's a whole group of people that are sort of preserving his family's legacy.
Yeah.
And to have a place where you can revisit your childhood. Like he can go back home again.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like it did then.
Yeah. And so the way we run it is we rent out the space, and we've had so many creative people come and have birthday parties, showers, anniversary parties. We've had weddings, and we had one wedding, and I walked in the carriage house because you can decorate it whatever you want. We're pretty liberal about what you can do. And I didn't even know where I was when I walked in. It was beautiful. The transformation.
And what did they do?
They did.
Paint me a picture.
Oh my gosh, they had baby's breath hanging from the ceiling. It was a candlelight service, and they had farmhouse tables with lace table runners and lanterns, and it was gorgeous. And we have had a lot of celebrations of life. Many townspeople, do their celebration of life there for their loved ones. We've had book clubs. We've had all sorts of people rent.
How many folks can the carriage house accommodate?
Well, if you go into the carriage house, depending on how you set up your tables, and we have tables and chairs available, and there's 2 bar sections for food or bar, probably comfortably 40. But when you rent, you get the carriage house, you get the house, you get the lawn. So people have put up tents. And so if you have an outdoor wedding under a tent, you can add to your space. But we try to keep it not huge because we're in a residential area and we have to be respectful of our neighbors who are wonderful.
But parking can be a challenge.
Parking, well, we have parking across the street. We have parking on the lawn, and there's a parking lot on Baldwin Street. So if it's a weekend and the businesses aren't there, there's parking there. But it seems to work out well.
How wonderful.
So that's one of the ways that we keep the house going is through the rentals. But we are trying other ways too, because when the original people on the original board, their vision was for this to be a community place for the arts and for people to gather. And for a while there, it got hard and it kind of got away from that. So we're trying to get back to that original vision for the property. So we're trying something this year, doing Arttober, and we're trying to have classes where people can come, and we're trying to keep the cost down, but it's actually people who are coming to teach there. So we're not really running the classes, but we're making it available for people. So right now we have a person who is coming and doing a beading class, and she's rented before. She's had her classes there. We have a woman who's doing a make your own bouquet class, and a woman who's doing kind of a fall glass mosaic class. And we have Phil Van Cott, who's a local artist who's done art shows. He's done a few art shows over the past year and a half. He's doing an art show. And we're kind of asking people if you want to see a class, you want to take a class, you want to teach a class, let us know. We would love to host classes and work with people to see whatever you would like to see there. We will try.
And October is a great time of year for
Yes.
Arttober.
Yeah. So we're trying that. And so we make a little money through that and donations. And we tried last year in conjunction with the East Long Meadow Lions. Every year we've done the tree lighting. And then
Huge.
Yes.
Huge,
Yes.
including my favorite, the reindeer games run by the rec department.
Yes, we started that
Doesn't
a couple
get
of
any
years
better
ago.
than that. Yep.
Yeah, a few years ago, we started to say, okay, so what can we do to make it bigger? And, some people have said, you're trying to turn this into a Hallmark movie. And I'm like, yeah, so what's wrong with that? So the Lions started the truck parade, the lighted truck parade, bringing
yes.
Santa
Mm-hmm.
to the tree lighting. And, of course, the church does the cookies and cocoa after that. And so the Lions have been trying for the last couple of years to make it a holiday kickoff weekend. and getting organizations, individuals, businesses all involved. So the last couple of years, it's been growing. Like St. Michael's does Breakfast with Santa on that Sunday. The bowling alley has done special bowling events. Some of the restaurants around have done some stuff. And we're just trying to get everybody involved and do more things. And so Norcross said, well, what can we do? So last year we tried a tree festival. And I mean, it's on a much smaller scale than some of these larger ones, but it was so successful and people were so creative. And it's not just trees. I mean, we had some trees. We had wreaths.
So these were in the carriage house?
In the carriage house.
Lovely.
If we get bigger, we can go on to the house too, but it was in the carriage house. And we had wood Christmas trees. We had paintings. We just had, people got so creative. So it's not just trees, because like for people our age, we don't need another Christmas tree. But I loved the wreath, and the wreath one of the wreaths had People's Bank went around and got gift certificates. And I think there was like $400 worth of gift certificates on there. And so you go and you buy a sheet of tickets and you put in your tickets wherever you want. And on the last night, we pick and, call the winners, and they're very happy to come and pick up their prizes.
And what a wonderful way to get into the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
Right in our town.
Yeah.
You have created a Hallmark movie. I agree. You achieved your goal.
Well, it could be a lot bigger. We could
and
get
I'm
a lot
sure
more
it will be,
involved.
just hearing the excitement in your voice.
Yeah. So this year we're going to do something special too. Last year we did it that Friday. It's always the first weekend in December, and we did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This year on Thursday, we're going to do like a sneak peek of everything, and we're going to invite people who have donated to Norcross or rented during the year for like a little sneak peek and a little reception, wine, cheese, cocoa.
Everyone wants to be in the know. That's great.
So yeah, hopefully that will go over very well. And we have a few new members this year on our board who are very gung-ho, and we're always looking for new members. And we could use still about 2 more according to our bylaws. We're down 2. But it's a good board. We have fun. And it's, you don't have to be interested in history. You could be somebody who's interested in doing events. We can always use event planners. We were very fortunate. We got somebody who actually knows about social media. So now we're on Facebook and we have a new website. So if you have some talents like that, or grant writing, anything like that, I mean, we could use you on our board. So that we're always looking for people to do that.
I have a mental image of the Norcross board members lying awake at night thinking, what else can we do?
Oh my God.
What other fun will happen at Norcross House?
Yeah.
A community space.
Yes. So, and it's just like we're the best kept secret because people don't know. But one of the reasons we want to do all these events is for people to come. I mean, we had craft fairs, and I showed the house to one young woman at one of the craft fairs, because we do tours. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want a party here. And every year she books it for a party now. And it's great. And we had one family who, for the longest time, would come back every year around the holidays and have their family holiday party there.
Which is so great, because we don't all live in places that you can accommodate.
Well, that's it. The
Enough
parents
people.
had downsized to a small condo, and children, were scattered. And so this was a central meeting place.
Or if you're like me and you don't really want to vacuum, and you can go somewhere else. And
that's true. And after COVID, we saw a real upswing in rentals. because people were like, well, maybe we'll do it not in our own home.
In a little bit of space where you can
Yes.
get some distance. You might not have 40 relatives, but you could bring your smaller circle of friends.
Definitely. I mean, we've had small book clubs. We've had ladies' luncheons where they've did potluck luncheons, and they just all meet there. And, you know, it's a convenient place for them to meet, and nobody has to worry about, you know, everybody cleaning their house and all that. So
You're singing my song there,
Yeah.
Donna. You're singing my song. How wonderful. So Norcross House has how many years of history?
it was built in, well, it was purchased, the land was purchased in 1880, and they started building right after that. So
Over 100
Over
years.
100
That's my math ability.
Yes,
that's
over 100
that's all I
years,
can tell you.
yes.
How wonderful.
yeah, and we work closely with the Historical Commission.
Mhm.
So that's great. We do a lot with them. And we actually, years ago, so the Friends of Norcross owned that property, and there was the building.
That property being the historical or Norcross House?
Or Norcross House.
Yep, okay.
And the historical, the town museum, which if you haven't been there, oh my gosh, it's just jam-packed with history. That building was actually over where I believe Rockies is now. And when they wanted to build Rockies, they paid to have the building moved. And so Friends of Norcross deeded that section of the property over to the town for the Historical Commission.
Wasn't that nice of you?
Well, it wasn't me, but yes. So we work very closely with them, and they're great.
They are a great group of folks. They do cooperative programs here at the Senior Center
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So, and isn't it wonderful? We can work and play well together.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. So the message I'm getting is Norcross House, through the events, people get a glimpse of it and then can buy into it, can see how it can be part of their world and see how it fits into our town's
Sure.
history and is just a beautiful, great place to be.
Yeah. And if anybody can think of any events that they would like to see there, like we did something 2 years ago, right before the fireworks display. We kind of had a potluck with the Historical Commission and thought, oh, maybe in years to come, we could open it up to the community. But now we don't know about the fireworks. So,
Right,
but
right.
something like
That's
that.
a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I know. I know. But something like that where, you know, if we had something like maybe an ice cream social or something for the community to come out, we would be more than willing to host it.
Okay, you party divas.
Yeah.
This is your challenge. What can happen with Norcross House and you?
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's some really creative, wonderful folks who are taking advantage of this beautiful facility.
Oh yeah. When I walked into, I told you about the wedding, but the other day we had somebody who did a bridal shower, and the woman, the mother of the bride, was so impressed by everything. She's like, "Oh, you got to come over." She called me. You got to come over and see what it looks like, and it was gorgeous. And I said, "Where did you get all these ideas?" Online. So yeah, just the possibilities are limitless as to what you can do. And we don't really care what you do as long as you put everything back the way you found it and you leave it in a clean condition.
One of the things that we are aware of in this community is there aren't a whole lot of meeting spaces.
No.
And so Norcross's secret is out, and hopefully folks will be able to take advantage of that.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's of a certain size. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Because there are church halls that are large,
Right.
but may not be suitable for
Right.
birthday parties or whatever
Yeah.
to happen. So
Or if you need a small, like the Lions Board meets there. Just because, it's a smaller area, we have a small board and it's convenient to everybody.
nice.
So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Have
So, could you talk a little bit about, you must have a website and contact information. You were saying that you're looking for board members, that there might be people that are interested in using the facility.
Yeah, so we
So-
have a website, norcrosscenter.org, and we have an email. It's info@norcrosscenter.org, and I check the email at least once or twice a day. And we love to give tours too. So we don't have open hours. We tried that, and then sometimes you sit there all day and nobody comes. But if anybody ever wants to see it, all you have to do is contact us, and somebody from the board will find a time to bring you through. And just if you want to just talk about it, or the museum is open one Saturday a month, usually.
Yeah.
And so if we had enough interest, we would be open too. But it's very interesting to go back and forth between the two of them too.
I think it'd be a great resource for kids' school projects.
Oh, yeah.
History. Not everyone is a history buff, but there's something about history on your doorstep that might appeal to
To know,
those of us who
Yeah.
can barely keep track of the present. So
Yeah.
history
Yeah.
locally would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And should we ask something about St. Michael's Players?
Oh,
We would
sure.
be so delinquent if we did not mention the wonderful resource of St. Michael's Players. Tell us, Donna, what's up with that?
Well, St. Michael's Players is our small community theater here, and we're out of the hall on Summers Road, St. Michael's, and we do 2 shows a year. We do a musical in the fall, and then in the spring we do a kids show, but for people of all abilities. So we have some people with different disabilities that are able to participate, and we usually do the children's version of a show. I got involved, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. A friend of mine said, "Hey, can you come and help me move some stuff backstage?" And that was it.
The rest is history.
So now I work, I'm their stage manager, and I work on the sets, building the sets, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of creative people, and just the things that we've been able to do out of such a small space. I mean, backstage, I can't even put my arms out from side to side and not touch both walls. But yet,
And you're not a large person.
No. But yet we managed to get things back there, and all the actors and the set pieces and the productions, I think, have been great. Of course, I'm biased, but
Several years ago, a friend of mine who's been here, Beth Wadden, was in a
Beth,
production.
yes.
And so a couple of us went as the fans of Beth,
Uh-huh.
and we were geared for community theater. We were ready for not quite being able to sing, and people kind of, we were thinking it was going to be something a little more homespun. And let me tell you, when you say you're small community theater, the word small is totally inappropriate. This was a wonderful, professional, enthusiastic, polished, heck of a performance.
Thank
If you had looked out into the audience that first time, and I think we were looking at Best of Broadway, if that was the name of
yes.
it, there was a small row of women who had their mouths open going, really? It was amazing. It is a true gem in our town. We've been ever since enjoying the performances because they're absolutely entertaining, well done. And you've got some really qualified people working with this group and
Yeah.
talent in our area.
Oh, yeah. We've had people go on. We have one young man who's been in so many of our productions, and he has done voiceovers for movies. He's actually been in a movie. He's doing commercials. We have another young man who is actually in production in Boston. And we've had people go on to other careers, and they started off at St. Mike's. So we've been very fortunate that we have had such talented people. And then the people who work behind the scenes and come up with the visions of how to do things. And Rose Stella and Frank Jackson are the impetus behind this whole thing. And as Rose will tell you, she'll come to me and she'll say, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, are you crazy? How can we do this here? And through, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, we do it.
Well, for those who have missed Rose Stella's podcast, please go into your archives and listen to that, because she is an amazing woman.
Yes.
And yet, even though we have these talented, skilled people, there is room in the St. Michael's Players for those who may be new to the theater. I mean, you mentioned building sets. Haven't heard you have a carpentry background.
Oh, no, I don't. Although
yeah.
I've always said if I had to do it over again, I'd go into carpentry.
So there is room for people who choose to become involved, who maybe want to try something new, which I believe is what Beth told us,
Yes.
that she had never done this, but this was sort of her retirement gig.
Yeah.
And it
she's been in so many of our productions, and I think she might even be in the next one. We're doing Big the Musical in November. And yes, and we're always looking for people, and especially to help paint. And people say, oh, well, I'm not an artist. We have artists. And one of the most wonderful things that some of our artists do is essentially create a paint by number. And so
it's like a giant coloring book.
Yeah.
And so we say, can you, if we draw shapes, can you fill them in with the colors we tell you? Oh, sure, we can do that. And that's the big thing. And then the artists come in and they work their magic and they do, the little touches that transform it. But a lot of that is painting over the back wall, just gray washing or black washing the back walls and the side walls.
Listen to those theater words. I love it.
And just helping with stuff like that. And building, well, we have people who know what they're doing, and they'll tell you, do this and that, and it's a help.
But a wonderful experience. I'm guessing this is a joyful group of people.
Yes.
And it's a place where you can go, and maybe you're having not the greatest day, but you'll walk into a place where folks are smiling and laughing and working together on a group project.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of fun working and putting together the sets. So
it's a community.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does. He's the man behind the lights.
He is the man behind the lights.
Let there be light.
Yes. How many times have you heard me say, Eric, we need lights back here
Right.
to move things?
I'll come and bring my flashlight. I'll help.
So there are so many ways that people can just get involved in the community here. And I know, I'm not on the Rotary, but the Rotary Club is hurting for people. And I kind of heard, and I hope this isn't true, that the Garden Club is no more. I'm not sure.
No, but I know the Rotary has their last concert next week.
Yes.
And it had to move this year again because of construction in town.
I know.
But the concerts have been very well received. And sometimes when you change venues, you'll lose people. Well, the fans have found them. So they'll be at center field. And for those who go not only for the musical experience, but for the culinary experience, they've expanded the popcorn to go to hot dogs and hamburgers and chicken nuggets and all sorts of stuff. So come on down for one more Rotary concert week, and things are happening.
Yeah, and they have such good talent at the concert series too. We were lucky. The first two this year were practically in our backyard.
Nice.
We could sit on our deck and listen to them.
Had we known.
Yeah.
The refreshments at Donna's home might have been good also. We'll see. What next? Are we done? Have we
Okay.
covered everything? Any final words?
No, I just think, if I can get one or two people who say, yeah, maybe I want to volunteer and join the Lions, or, come to Norcross or join the board or get involved in St. Mike's or any of the other things in town,
And I will say, you don't have to sign up for life.
Oh, God, no.
If it's the Lions Club, you can put a paw in, and maybe you can go to a meeting, or maybe you can help on a done in a day project with the St. Michael's players, and just check it out. See, is this something that speaks to me? And maybe you'll find a community.
Well, the thing is, if you have a small group of people doing something, it's a lot of work. If you have a big group, it's just a little bit of work for each person. So you don't have to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend all this time, although some of us do because we enjoy it. There's a lot of things that the Lions Club do. We do beer dinners, we do wine dinners.
Okay, now, Donna, why did we wait so long to talk about the beer dinners and the wine dinners? Really?
Yeah, well, we have a beer dinner coming up at Mario's. Oh my goodness, October. I'm not sure of the date, but it'll
In
be
October.
in October. Yes,
And the Lions Club has a website. Or you'll be on Facebook.
we'll be on Facebook.
Nice.
We're kind of moving over our website. It was kind of an old website and not easy to use, so we're in the process of changing that. But Facebook, we are on Facebook, and golf tournament is coming up in August, but I think that's sold out, which is great.
Great news.
Yes, I think we sold out
You're
of that.
too late, people.
Or there might be a couple. If that, again, check Facebook.
A couple
There-
of sponsor spots, maybe.
yeah, but that's really grown. So yeah, but it's just you can play in the golf tournament. You can sit with me at the raffle table, and we just again want to do things that people want to come to, and be an asset for the community and something that people enjoy.
Well
All
spoken.
right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Donna. We really appreciate you coming in. Yeah, it was interesting. The Norcross Center, if you've never been to the house, it really, really is beautiful. So anyway, that wraps up another episode of Stories from the View. We'd like to thank Donna Martinez for being here today. The Stories from the View podcast, it's available on the LCAT 01028 channel on YouTube, and it's also on Spotify. If you have a story you'd like to share on the program, contact the Pleasant View Senior Center, 525-5436. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Stories from the View.